Hello Sunday people, hope you're good. This week we are covering food waste. This here are your chicken bones that often get chucked in the bin, but you're missing a trick. You could turn them into these. These are blocks of liquid gold. It's reduced chicken stock that you can just add some liquid to. You can keep them in the freezer. They're better for you because they've got less salt, and they're saving you money because you don't need to buy the shop bought stuff. So if you're into time saving for future you and reducing on your food waste, well then come with me because you're in the right place. This Sunday we are making little blocks of liquid gold. Homemade chicken stock. It is just better, not only for you, but for your wallet and for the rubbish, because you're not throwing this stuff in the bin. And homemade stock always just tastes nicer than anything you can buy in the cube or the carton. It's also a great way to use up something that might be getting a bit sad and floppy in the fridge and also not going in the bin. It really is a win-win. Oh, I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but for some reason it did. But let's get into this. I'm going to show you how to make it and what to do with it. And as I said, it's a great way to not throw away something that might have been rubbish. Okay, so first things first, the chicken bones. These here are chicken bones from 2 chickens that I butchered over the last few weeks. And all I did was wrap them up, put them in the freezer. See you later. They can just hang out in there until you've got a few, and then you can make a whole load of stock. I would suggest that for this, because we are gonna reduce it down by quite a lot, that you at least have 2, maybe 3 or 4, because then you can make a larger amount, reduce it by further, and actually end up with larger amount at the end, so you only have to make it 1 time. Also, pot depending. How big's your pot? If your pot's only big enough for 2, well then just do 2. Anyways, these are from chickens that I broke down. And if you don't know how to do that, I've added a video just up here about how to butcher a chicken. It's a really great way to save a little bit of money, but it does mean that you get the bones. So then you can make this fantastic stock. The only other thing is some veggies. Simple things that nearly everyone will have at home. We've got some onions, I've got some garlic, I've got some flippy floppy celery that was just hanging out in the fridge, a bit of rosemary from the garden, and some carrots. Doesn't have to be anything special. You could also add in here peppercorns, or what you could do is if you wanted to make this like a stock base that was going to be maybe only for ramen, then you might want to add in here some ginger, some chili, some coriander stalks. You know, you can kind of adapt it to what you want it for, but a good stock base is great because then you can always add them flavors after. So that's that. Now we've just got to prep it. And did you know as well that bone broth, it isn't just trendy. It's rich in collagen, which is great for your joints and your skin health. It's also packed full of amino acids, which are really good for your gut because they look after your immunity. And so during the winter time, this is a great thing to have just in your freezer, ready to go. I also just found there another chicken bone. This one was actually from a cooked chicken, but I thought I'd keep it anyway because we're gonna roast this off so that we get a nice dark stock. You can just put this into a pot and do it that way. But I always like to roast it off just because you get a little bit of extra flavour. I also understand that this might sound a little bit complicated, but basically, like I said to you about the bones, all it is a collection of every time you have some chicken. It doesn't even have to be a whole chicken. If you've bought some chicken thighs or some drumsticks and you've still got them bones left over, just keep them, pile them all in a bag, put them in the freezer. Anything will do. So the first thing that we need to do for this is roast off these chicken bones. And then this is our veg, but that I'm not gonna roast. I'm just gonna add that to the pot. So let's get these roasting and then we can come back to putting it all together. And for this, I am gonna use the air fryer. You can use the oven, but it's just quicker and faster in the air fryer if you have one. If not, in the oven, 200 degrees, 40 minutes. You'll have some nice dark cooked bones that are ready to go into your stock. So it does take a little bit of time to cook, but you don't have to do anything to it. Once it's in, it's cooking. Then you take it out and you put it into the pot. It's a very simple prep, but great end result. So in they go, and we'll see you in about 25 minutes. All right, there we go. Chicken bones, roasted, golden, delicious. Halfway through, I just flip them over so that they can get a little bit of colour on the other side, but otherwise, that's it. Now, all you've got to do is decide how you're going to cook it. So, I'm going pressure cooker, so all I've got to do is chuck these bones in here And now this is where I probably pour it everywhere, but there is some juice in the bottom of the air fryer, so I would suggest that you also add that. And then it's just in with the veg. Done. Quick, simple, efficient. Now, if you don't have a pressure cooker, just do it in a pan. And what you want to do, same thing. All of these roasted bones in, veggies in, cover to the top, pop on a lid, slowly simmer. You want to cook it for probably 2 hours. It will obviously start to reduce, but you then just refill it with some water and cook it down again. You really want to do it slowly so it just simmers. You don't want it bubbling fast because you'll end up with a cloudy stock. Not that that's the end of the world, but because I'm doing this in the pressure cooker, it's only going to take 45 minutes to cook. And what happens in the pressure cooker is obviously because it's under high pressure, it's really extracting all that extra goodness from it so that when we pour it out, we will already have a really good concentrated flavour. But we'll get that on and then I'll show you in about 45 minutes what it looks like. The only thing is, of course, if you're using a pressure cooker, make sure you follow the guidelines of what yours says, depending on how large or how small your inner container is. It depends on how much water you can add. So I'm going to get it on and I'll see you guys in a bit. While that's on cooking, just a quick thing for you guys. Do you find this stuff helpful? Please let me know in the comments section down below. A, I always love to hear from you, and B, I'm trying to build something which can make life in the kitchen much easier. So if you've enjoyed this little hack or any of my other recipes that are about saving time or maybe cutting down food waste, let me know. They all help and make things much easier for me to work out what you guys need. Anyways, we'll get back to the video because I think the pressure cooker is nearly going off. And so it's done. Now, you can either just let the pressure cooker depressurize on its own, or you can turn the little dial, but just obviously be careful because lots of steam will come out and it's hot and you don't want to burn yourself. So if you do that, do be careful. If not, just let it decompress on its own and then you can open the lid. And then I'm going to pass it through a colander into a pan. Don't do the epic fail, which is just putting the colander in there and then the stock will go down the sink. We don't want that. And so here it is. And then what I like to do, because we want to make sure we get all of the juice out of this, is just lightly with a masher, is just push it down. So just push them bones. You don't want to push too much of the sediment through because that can happen, but this is a great way to just make sure any of that last bit of juice that's hanging out in them chicken bones is well and truly in your base. It just smells amazing. It smells like something that's super nourishing and just absolutely delicious on what is here today a very miserable New Zealand autumn day. It's raining, it's cold, and so this is just gonna be delightful to have even just a little cup of. I quite like doing that sometimes too, just having a little cup of broth because it is super delicious. Okay, that's all that. But we still need to take it a little bit further so that we can pour it into the ice cube trays. So I'm going to get this onto the stove and probably reduce it. It's currently about here, so maybe we're going to reduce by another quarter and then it's done. So let's get this on and reducing. And there we go. What was 3 litres has now become 1, and we've got beautiful, amazing stock that now we can pour into our ice cube trays, and then when we need it, we can just dilute it. At this point, before you put it into the trays, a really great idea is to give it a taste. Oh, it's chickeny, it's delicious. And I mean, actually, you probably could take this even further, but I know that I'm going to need a load this evening for something I'm cooking, so I thought absolutely no point in taking it much further because I'm going to then have to reconstitute some. So really, you could probably take it down to about 500 mils, and then you would have a super concentrate, which then you knew you could rehydrate one of them cubes with 500 mils of water and have an incredible stock base. But what I would say now is we will give it a tiny little season. Just a little bit of salt is all it needs. Oh, perfect. And now into the trays and into my extra container that's I'm going to use today. And then we're just going to leave that to cool down on the side, put it into the freezer once it's cold. There you go, concentrated homemade stock cubes that you know are good for you, that aren't full of tons of salt and are just downright delicious. Whether you're making risotto, ramen, or just a delicious soup. And here are some stock cubes that I made the other day. I didn't roast the bones on these ones, hence the lighter colour, but look at that, 1 cube into water and you've got perfect chicken stock. So why don't you start saving them bones, and you can do this too. Let me know in the comments section down below if you think that this is a good idea or if you're gonna make it. So I love you all and I'll see you soon. Take it easy. Bye.